recording. Share screen. Está bien. Well, buenos días a todos. Y bienvenidos a la lección, what are we, 24 de la clase de español. So, we're talking about health again this week, and we'll probably need to finish off next week. I'm sorry for being so depressing, talking about health matters for 3 solid weeks. But we're coming out of COVID, so there are reasons to be cheerful, even though I'm making everybody depressed talking about health. So we will hopefully have a good session today, revising some of the things that we were talking about last week, developing some of the themes a little bit further, and doing a little bit of revision. So let's do that, and let's start with the homework that we had from last week. So I wanted you to translate these sentences. Fairly straightforward, I think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bottom of our gallery, where admin, aka Paul, is sitting down there. Can you hear me okay, admin?
Yes, sorry, I'm at the top on mine.
So how did everybody get on with the homework? Was everybody happy with this? Were you able to do it? Were you able to do it without looking things up, or did you have to?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Okay. Well, you won't have your dictionary in the doctors, or Google Translate. You might have Google Translate, but good idea to practice these. Try, when you get the homework, have a crack at doing it without looking it up. Just write down what you think it is, and then look it up. By all means, check it and see how you get on. Richard and Maya, you can mark each other's, can't you? So you can put each other right. No, it's this. No, it's that. So it's a good way to do it. It's so easy to sort of think, oh, I'm not sure. I'll just have a quick look on Google, and it's not a good way to learn. So, Paul, how did you get on with these 5 here?
There was 1 or 2 which I found I had to look up. I'll be honest, and I got my missus to check them over, and there were a few.
Oh, of course, yes, yeah, do look at that.
Yeah, clever corner.
Paul's wife is she's a year ahead of you in Spanish.
Exactly.
She's in the higher set.
No, she was quite pleased with what I'd done, and she said, "Yeah, you got most of it right." So it just annoys me when I make stupid mistakes.
Okay, what did you get for these then? My back hurts. What did you get for that?
Me duele la espalda.
Yeah, good. It's not me duele. Yeah, don't forget these Spanish vowels.
Yeah.
Me duele la espalda.
La espalda.
I feel terrible. I think I may have flu.
Me siento terrible. Creo que puedo tener gripe.
Gripe. Yeah, don't forget we need to pronounce every letter, and we need to pronounce those Spanish vowels. So me siento terrible, not creo. It's creo. Yeah. We do, in English we'd say creo, and we'd elongate the O. Spanish have a nice chop at the end of it, so it cuts it off. Creo. Okay. No, I've said podría tener gripe. What did you say? Did you have that?
Creo que por. No, puedo. Puedo
Uh,
tener.
yeah, I can have flu. Yeah. Podría is conditional. It's worth. I've chucked these in because handy to know a few conditional tenses. Instead of I can have, I could have, I may have. So it's podría is I may have or I could have. It's also the same conjugation for it could have. So it's quite handy. You can use podría in lots of little sentences. My stomach hurts and I've been vomiting.
Me duele el estómago y he estado vomitando.
Vomitando, sí.
Vomitando.
Muy bien.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Estómago. Estómago. Y he estado vomitando. Good, perfect. I have a bad pain in my ears. I think it's an infection.
Tengo un dolor en los oídos. Creo que es una infección.
Yeah. So you said, what did you start off with? Tengo
yeah. Un dolor.
Yeah.
En los oídos. It's ears. Oídos.
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 Yeah. Don't forget the accent. The stress is on the E, and of course it's Spanish I is pronounced E. So it's one of the hardest things to train your brain to do. Say oídos. Have a few goes at it, and it gets easier each time, I think. Now, I said me duelen mucho los oídos. They hurt me a lot, the ears. I think that I have an infection. It is an infection.
Eric?
Yes.
You've put en mis oídos. So when it hurts me the head.
Tengo me duelen mucho los oídos. I said as an alternative, you could say tengo un fuerte dolor, and it should be los oídos. I've just been chattering away in Spanish there with my fingers, and I've forgotten to switch to Spanish. Of course, in Spain, you don't use possessive adjectives for parts of the body. You use definite articles. So I have a pain in the ears, the Spanish would say, not my ears. Sorry about that. So los oídos. So that's fine. And fuerte means strong. In Spanish, they don't use bad. They don't say un dolor malo. They say a strong pain, not a bad pain. It's just one of those little differences between the languages. Fuerte dolor, bad pain. We translate it as a bad pain. Oh, Paul, you're not sounding very well this morning. What else is wrong?
No, I'm terrible.
You have a fever and a cough.
Yeah. Tengo fiebre y tos.
That's one of those. In Spanish, you often find yourself saying 4 words more in a sentence than you do in English. Occasionally, a Spanish sentence is really concise and easy, and this is one of them. Tengo fiebre y tos. I don't know why they don't use the article here, a fever and a cough, but they don't. I've no idea why. They just don't. It's one of those weird things. And knowing when they use an article and not is often just a oh dear, making Paul feel ill now.
Yeah, getting to me.
sorry about this. So that's it. Well done, Paul. That's great.
Thank you.
Great. Let's have a look at the next lot. Lorraine, can you tackle these? You can say my husband fell or my partner fell and he cannot walk if you prefer, or you can just translate.
Yeah, I put mi esposa se cayó y ella no camina.
See? Yeah, that works. That works perfect. Mi esposa se cayó. Don't forget the off ending there. When we're in the past tense, we really have to hit the ending so that the Spanish ear gets the understands where we are. Mi esposa se cayó y I said no puede caminar.
Oh, so did I.
Y ella no. What did you say? No caminar.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no.
That's she can't walk. That's fine. That works. Perfectly good grammar. Absolutely fine. My husband needs to see a doctor.
Mi esposo necesita ver a médico.
Yeah. Un médico or un doctor, no, una doctora works fine.
Is there a difference between the two, between a medico and a doctor?
No, I don't think there is really. No, absolutely the same. Yeah, I think they're pretty much interchangeable. That's fine. I cannot sleep and I feel very depressed.
No puedo dormir y me siento deprimada.
Sí. No puedo dormir y me siento. Did you say me siento? Or did you say?
I said me siento.
Me siento,
I missed out muy.
Well, I mean, if you're a bit depressed or very depressed, it's. And well done, you got the feminine version. Deprimida or deprimido. Don't forget those I's at E's. Deprimido. When I eat, I feel as if I'm going to be sick.
Cuando como siento que voy a estoy vomitando, está enferma.
Ah, good. Cuando como.
As well.
That's good. Siento que voy a vomitar.
Vomitar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you say estoy vomitando?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's be sick, to be sick. That's the what's the right? It's the present continuous tense, which is quite a horrible thought when you're feeling sick, isn't it? I fell. I think I may have broken my leg.
Me caí. Creo que la pierna me he roto. I had a few problems with this because at one point I put tango in there and then I took it out. I think when I checked it, I took it out.
Yeah.
So I had problems with this one.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I fell is me caí. That sounds like the sound you'd make as you fall. Me caí. That's just one of the stupid things I do to try to remember past tenses. I really struggle with my past tense, and I'm working quite hard on improving it at the moment, even down to having some additional Spanish lessons with a tutor who talks so fast I can hardly keep up. It's improving my listening skills as well as my past tense skills, but it's a slow, painful process. Me caí, creo que, I think, me he roto la pierna. I think I may have broken the leg. So we've got some perfect tense in here, he roto, and we'll do some perfect tense towards the end of this year. Really, so you know what it is and you don't get too confused by it. We're not really doing much past tense at all, but a little bit will creep in. Yeah. Well done, Lorraine. Very good.
Just a query on that last one, Eric. When Julie checked this for me, she said it should be rotado. And I said, well, no, I think it's roto.
Rotado.
It's an irregular participle.
Is it?
Yeah, I had to look it up.
Okay. And the correct one is?
Roto.
Roto.
Yeah.
There aren't many. There aren't many irregular past participles. I've been using it for a few years, so I'm glad it's right. Otherwise, I've been telling everybody the wrong thing for a while. Yeah. Tell her it's an irregular past participle, Paul. And
oh, she'll love that.
Yeah, that's one up to you. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, will do.
Any other questions about the homework?
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Can I
Apple.
just ask? I get confused with sentir, whether I should be putting in the reflexive me. So, for instance, which one was it? Yeah, with number 9, I put cuando como me siento.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it should be.
That's all right.
I think in that case, yeah. When you feel something is happening, or you feel that it's going to be a nice day today, or something like that, then it's not reflexive. But when you're feeling ill, it should always be reflexive. I may have. Yeah, me siento, that's right. And I should have had I should have made this reflexive too, Apple. That's my mistake. Me siento. Okay.
Right, thank you.
So whenever you're feeling that it's something a health issue for you, it should always be reflexive. So let's have a quick recap on last week. There was an awful lot to take in. And what I've tried to do is give you little phrases to use as building blocks that you can use in lots and lots of different situations. Learn the building blocks, and then you know the body parts. You should be able to tell somebody what's wrong with you, or a member of your family, or somebody else. So, volvemos al doctor. We're going back to see the doctor. Doler is the verb we used a lot. And do you remember we use this a little bit like we use gustar? So we don't say, I like something hurts me. We say, it hurts me, that whatever it is. And that's just the way the construction works in Spanish. And it's useful because we only have to learn duele and duelen. It hurts and they hurt. So if only one thing hurts you, duele. If two things hurt you, duelen. So, for example, Me duele la espalda. My back hurts. My leg hurts would be me duele la pierna. Always with an article, never a possessive adjective. So we don't say my leg, it's the leg. It's one of the quirks of Spanish. They do it with clothes as well. So if we're talking about trousers, it's always the trousers, not my trousers. It's assumed that if you're talking about the trousers, that they're yours. You may have to sometimes make it clear that it's not yours, it's Fred's or somebody else's. But that's the la pierna, la espalda. Okay, my throat hurts. Me duele la garganta. Three regular pains there. When two things hurt, it's me duelen. They hurt me. So my ears hurt. What would that be, Abigail? My ears hurt.
Me duelen los oídos.
Yep. And my feet hurt.
Me duelen, I forgot what feet are. Los pies.
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 Yeah. I always struggle with feet. It's because when I started to learn Spanish, my daughter-in-law was around a lot, and her first child was very young, and she didn't call them pies, she called them patas, and I just thought that was the word for feet, because it means paws, as in animal paws, and she was just using it as a
well, we call
familiarity.
We call them plates of meat, and the Spanish call them pies.
Spanish rhyming slang. That would be a good one, wouldn't it? So, me duelen los pies. So, what if you were talking about on behalf of somebody else? Which you may well do. If there was something afflicted my wife while we were in a Spanish-speaking country, she would expect me to sort things out. And if somebody else is suffering pain, we say, well, you use this formula. Who is it? Le duele, it hurts them, it hurts him, or it hurts her. I think I'm getting Paul's cough. Excuse me. And then what it is. So who, le duele, what? And get that little formula in your head. For example, who, mi esposa, le duele, and what? La espalda. My wife has a bad back, or her back's hurting her. How do we all feel about doler? Is everybody happy with doler? Any questions on doler? No? Muy bien. Let's try these then. Remember the formula. Who, le duele, and what? Amanda, can you have a crack at these? My grandson has earache. You're on mute at the moment, Pat.
Mi hijo.
Not hijo, that's my son.
Oh,
do you remember grandson?
No.
It's nieto. Nieto.
Yes.
Mi nieto.
Le duele Los oídos.
El oído, I said. He's only one ear hurting him. And if it was 2 ears, it would have to be, what would it have to be if it was 2 ears, the middle bit? Not le duele.
Los duele.
Le duelen. Duelen. They hurt. Yeah. Okay. My daughter has a sore throat.
Mi hija tiene
No. Le
le
duele.
duele. Forgotten throat now. No, I don't know throat, sorry.
La garganta.
Garganta.
So I'm just waving at my wife. She's going to have her hair done this morning. She's very excited about it. Ridiculously excited. I'm having my hair done next week. I've just told my wife I'm just going to say, just trim the edges a bit. I quite like it long. Amanda, my husband has painful legs.
Mi marido le duelen
Good.
las piernas.
Good. Yeah. So that formula is really useful. Who, le duele or le duelen, and what. Don't forget it's the legs or the leg, the ear, not his ear, her ear, etc. Okay, perfect. If you want to say that you have some kind of condition, you can use the verb tener. For example, tengo un dolor de cabeza. I have a headache. Tengo tos. I have a cough. If you're reporting for somebody else instead of tengo, we have to conjugate the verb for he has or she has, and that is tiene. Tiene. Mi esposo tiene gripe. Mi nieta tiene fiebre. My wife has the flu. My granddaughter has a fever. Everybody happy with that? We've been conjugating tener since almost the start of the class, so we should know that one by now. So let's try these. Jane, Lily, can you do those?
Me duele.
No, let's use tener
Oh, tener. Oh.
rather than dole.
Tengo un dolor de cabeza.
Un dolor de cabeza is a headache. My grandson has a fever.
Mi nieto tiene fiebre.
Excellent. My wife has flu.
Mi esposa tiene gripe. La gripe, is it?
Just gripe.
Oh, just gripe.
Yeah. It's one of those where the article seems to be dropped. Like I say, I don't know the reason why. There must be one somewhere, but it's escaped me so far. And my husband has a bad cold.
Mi marido tiene I can't remember a cold.
No?
I can't remember cold.
No, okay. Resfriado.
Fuerte.
I've used fuerte again, but instead of a bad cold, a strong cold. So, if often we go to the doctor because we can't do something, we can't eat, they can't sleep. And in this case, we need to use poder in the negative. So I can't eat, no puedo comer. If we're reporting for somebody else, the conjugation for he, she, can is puede, and to make it a negative, he or she can't, no puede. So mi esposa no puede dormir. My wife can't sleep. Let's have a crack at these. The verb to stop is parar or dejar. So we can use either of those. Dejar is probably preferable. What do you think about these, Adrian? Can you?
I hope they conjugate regularly. Dejo dormir.
I cannot sleep. Dejo dormir is I stop sleeping. So I cannot sleep would be. I cannot would be.
No puedo dormir.
Muy bien, muy bien. My son cannot sleep.
Mi hijo no puede dormir.
Good, excellent. My wife cannot stop sneezing. Sorry,
mi esposa no puede dejar escuchando or something like that.
Estornudar, yeah.
Estornudar. Right.
Nodar, not nodir. See, if she couldn't stop coughing, tosiendo. Sneezing, coughing are two regular complaints, aren't they? That we need to cover off. So, to say how you feel if you're not feeling well, we can use the verb estar. I think in the first lesson we learned good day, how are you? ¿Cómo estás? And the answer generally is estoy bien, I'm well. So we started to use the verb estar to say how we felt right at the beginning of our Spanish class. And there's nothing wrong with using estar. It's perfectly correct. We can also use the verb sentirse. So sentir in its reflexive form. So we can say estoy enfermo, I am ill. Mi hijo está enfermo, my son is ill. Or we could say me siento fatal, I feel terrible. There's a subtle difference between I am ill and I feel ill, isn't there? And they're interchangeable, really, and they're interchangeable in English to a certain extent. Me siento fatal. Mi esposa se siente enferma. My wife feels ill. Again, we need to conjugate sentir, which is siento, I feel. He, she feels is siente. And we need those reflexive pronouns. Me siento, se siente. Everybody happy with that? Yeah. I can't see your faces that well, but I feel I can see your faces drop when I say reflexive verb.
Yes.
So hopefully We can also use the perfect tense to say what our symptoms have been. So often you go to the doctor and you say, I've been whatever it is. You give them a long list of complaints. In Spanish, that's he estado. Don't forget, we don't pronounce the H. It's not he estado. He estado. Estado. I have been. Ha estado is he or she has been. So, he estado vomitando. I've been vomiting. Mi marido ha estado vomitando por 3 días. My husband has been vomiting for 3 days. So see, we chaps don't make such a fuss, so we just put up with it. So it can go on for a long time with us. So there are a couple of useful phrases. Like I say, we've not really done any perfect tense, and don't worry about it. But if you can learn those 2 little things, then that's going to be useful when you want to say what's been happening. Okay, so holiday problems. Let's talk about some holiday problems. I asked last week if anybody had any specific problems, but no, you all seem a very healthy lot, so there's no worries there. Nobody had any disasters on holiday. So what are the most common holiday problems? Stomach upsets. I have eaten, again using the perfect tense, he comido. She has eaten would be ha comido. I've eaten mariscos, seafood. Covers a multitude of sins, and a common form of food poisoning abroad. He bebido, I have drunk. Ha bebido, she has drunk. They may have drunk something slightly dodgy. Buy a fruit juice from a street seller in Ecuador, and you may be using that form of speech. And to turn this into a report for other people, we want to say possibly, mi nieta ha comido 3 helados. What does that mean, Lorraine? Mi nieta ha comido 3 helados.
My granddaughter has eaten 3 ice creams.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What other disasters can befall us on holiday? Falling over seems to be a pretty common holiday accident. We've done I fell, me caí, and he or she fell, se cayó. I have fallen. If you want to, just leap over this bit. Me caí is fell, se cayó is fine. She fell. I have fallen. We're getting into some grammar, I guess, and it may be useful. He caído. He or she has fallen. Ha caído. So, what might happen? I mean, falling over is not the problem. It's the problems start when you hit the ground, don't they? So, me cae y me tosi el tobillo. Tosi is twisted. Se cayó y se tosió el tobillo. He or she fell and they twisted. Tobillo is ankle, of course. remember that from our recent lesson on body parts. So you can say that you know, twisted ankle, twisted wrist, but it's probably just easier to remember me cae y me duele la muñeca, el brazo, la pierna, el tobillo. So la muñeca is muñeca, I beg your pardon, is the wrist. It's the same as a doll, bizarrely. El brazo is the arm. La pierna, leg, el tobillo, the ankle. So I fell and my wrist hurts. Let the doctor decide whether it's twisted or broken or sprained or whatever. If it's happened to your husband or your wife, then mi esposa se cayó y le duele la muñeca, el brazo, la pierna, el tobillo. That's easier to remember. Other holiday problems. A rash. Who hasn't had an odd rash on holiday? Couple of words for a rash in Spanish. Una erupción, una sarpullido. So you can say, tengo una erupción, I have a rash. If something itches, me pica, it itches me. Me está picando is also, it's itching me. It's itching me. And a couple of examples. La pierna me pica mucho. My leg itches a lot. Or está picando la pierna. It's itching. My leg is itching. Exactly. It means exactly the same. Just a slightly different way of saying it. And a rash seems to rashes seem to be quite common. Once we pale Brits get in the sun, we start to get all kinds of rashes, including not a rash, but including sunburn. Lots of horror stories about sunburn on holiday, not just in hot countries, not just in Spain. It's easy enough to do in the UK, but when you get off the plane in Spain, you always seem to pass through the airport. Lots of people coming back with some very, very strange markings where they've had a strap or not had a strap. You see the backs and you think, oh my God, that must hurt. So sunburn is quemaduras solares. Just quemaduras is probably fine. It'll be pretty obvious when you walk in what's wrong with you if you've got sunburn. So tengo quemaduras solares. I've got sunburn. We did estornudar is to sneeze. No puedo dejar de estornudar. I can't stop sneezing. Creo que tengo fiebre del heno is hay fever. Fiebre de heno. Funnily enough, hay fever is one of those complaints we seem to get in the UK. As soon as we go abroad, it's a different set of pollen, and it tends not to worry us for 2 to 3 weeks, while our body decides that it's also allergic to Spanish pollen as well as English pollen. But by the time the hay fever's kicked in, you might be on the plane home. Cutting yourself is another issue, especially cutting your foot on a sharp stone. We decide to go barefoot down to the beach and tread on something sharp. Tengo un corte, I have a cut. Tengo where? En el pie. Tengo un corte en el pie. I have a cut on my foot. A hangover, una resaca. We're all too old and sensible to get hangovers these days, aren't we? Tengo una resaca. I have a hangover. Bites and stings. Okay. The size of wasps in Spain is quite intimidating. I remember a trip to Spain when our children were young, and we went to the Alhambra, and we had really thirsty, and they all had cans of fizzy drink. And as soon as you took the top off the can, there was about 6 wasps around the top of the can, and it was very stressful. 10 minutes trying to keep the wasps off while the kids drank their drink. Tengo picadora is a sting or a bite. Tengo picadora de insecto. I've got an insect bite or sting, is what you'd say to the chemist or the doctor. He mordido por una serpiente. I've been bitten by a snake. It's never happened to me, but I was walking a couple of years ago. I was walking in the dry tropical forest in Ecuador, and I just casually asked my son if there are any snakes about. Apparently there's something called a 7-hour snake. I wondered if it was dangerous, but the clue's in the name, really, isn't it? 7-hour snake. You've got 7 hours to get to hospital, basically. I've been stung by a jellyfish. Now, I've never actually been stung by a jellyfish, but I do know people who have. And I've seen jellyfish stings on people at the beach in Norfolk, let alone anywhere else. He picado por una medusa. I have been stung by a jellyfish. A jellyfish is una medusa. What was Medusa? She was in Greek. She was a Greek character, wasn't she? Was she the one with snakes on her head?
Didn't she turn you to stone?
One look at her face turned you to stone. She had snakes as hair.
Yeah.
One of the Gorgons.
One of the Gorgons. So it's una medusa is Spanish for jellyfish.
Perseus managed to vanquish her by only looking at her in his shield.
Yes, he did.
Mirror.
Lopped her head off and put it in a bag, didn't he? And used it as an offensive weapon throughout Greece. I don't think I'd like to have picked it up with all those snakes. So when you go to the doctor, if you have a problem, you go to the doctor. You might have something simple like a little cut or an insect sting, but you may have underlying health conditions. That's a little phrase we've learned since COVID, isn't it? And you may want to tell the doctor that you've got underlying health conditions. In English, we'd say, I have or I have had. So you can use tengo problemas del corazón, I have heart problems, which is fine. By all means, do that. If you want to say, I have had, in other words, you've got something that's ongoing. He tenido is the perfect tense. He tenido problemas del corazón. I've had heart problems. Liver problems, hígado. He tenido problemas del hígado. Kidney problems is renales, problemas renales. I have problems breathing. He tenido problemas respiratorios. So best to learn those before you go, really. If you're reporting for somebody else, instead of saying he tenido, ha tenido. So you want to talk about your husband or your wife. Mi esposo ha tenido problemas del corazón. My husband has heart problems, or in this case, my wife has heart problems. Allergies, common problem nowadays. And you may need to tell a doctor or a chemist that you're allergic to something. Indeed, you may need to, if it's a food allergy you have, we've not done going to a restaurant and ordering food yet, that's on the list, but you may need to tell the waiter that you're allergic to something. One of my grandsons is allergic to sesame seeds, and they're in everything, so we have to explain that he's allergic to sesame. So how do we do that? We have to say that you have an allergy. Because an allergy is a permanent thing, an inherent characteristic, if you like, we don't use the verb estar, we use the verb ser. So, soy alérgico is what you need to say. I'm allergic. Soy alérgico a la penicilina. I'm allergic to penicillin. Soy alérgico a los mariscos. I'm allergic to shellfish. Nuts is a common allergy. Lots of words for nuts in Spanish. Cacahuates, that might be Latin American. Maní is, I think, peanuts in Spanish. Or you just want to say nuts in general, las nueces. You're allergic to pollen. You might not want to go out in the middle of the day. Soy alérgico al polen. You may want to wish. You may want to add tengo fiebre del heno as explanation. Picaduras de abejas. Bee stings is a regular issue with allergies. Soy alérgico a las picaduras de abejas. I'm allergic to bee stings. Again, these are very specific conditions. If you're not allergic to anything, great, you can just forget this page completely. If you are allergic to, or one of your family members are allergic to something, then if you're going abroad, it's well worth learning this, because when your grandson accidentally gets served sesame and you've not noticed, and his face starts swelling up, you want to be able to tell somebody, and chances are that person won't speak English. It's Sod's law, isn't it? So just learn what you need to here. And if you're not allergic to anything, then no need to worry about it. It's great. So if we're still reporting allergies, we're reporting for others rather than ourselves, we still need to use ser. I am is soy. He, she, is es. So, mi nieto es alérgico a sésamo. My grandson is allergic to sesame. Mi marido es alérgico al mariscos. You could say los mariscos if you want to. My friend is allergic to penicillin. Would be, who have we not had so far? Richard and Maya. How about your combined brains on this? Or take it in turns if you like. My friend is allergic to penicillin. How would you say that?
Mi amiga es alérgico la penicillin.
Alérgico,
Penicillin.
well done, Richard. Yeah. Penicillina. All of these drugs tend to be close cognates to English, so I think you get away with saying penicillin. I think, you know, I've found that when I've wanted a drug abroad, I haven't got a clue what the Spanish name is for it. Then it's close enough to the English one because it's it's a manufactured chemical and it's common across various languages. You often found it's very, very similar. How about my son is allergic to peanuts or to nuts?
Mi hijo es alérgico las nueces.
Nueces. Sí. Mi hijo es alérgico a los cacahuates, al maní, las nueces. It's very urgent. He is allergic to bee stings.
That's muy, I forgot, urgent.
Well, it's very close to the English, but we have to pronounce it slightly differently, don't we?
Muy urgent.
Urgente. Sí. He is allergic to bee stings.
They are allergic to the abeja.
Abeja, sí, abeja. Picadoras de abeja.
Picadora.
O picadoras, sí. Es muy urgente. It's very urgent. Good, well done. So we may ship up at the doctor's in Spain. I'm just checking we're doing on time. We're almost out. We'll do this page and then we'll finish. But we'll tidy up the last few bits next week with maybe a trip to the pharmacy, and that's it. We can talk about eating out or something like that rather than being ill. Yes, indeed. So possibly you're already taking some medicine for a condition. I am taking. Going to use the present continuous tense. Estoy, I am. Tomando, I am taking. And again, you may not be taking any medication at the moment, so you can just go make a cup of coffee now. Ciao. But if you are, or somebody you travel with is taking something, you need to say what you're taking, and a good idea to learn what that is. So I take blood pressure medication. Estoy tomando medicamentos para la presión arterial alto. If you've got a condition, you're taking some medicine. Learn what they are. They always ask me in the dentist what blood pressure medication I'm on. I don't well remember. didn't you write it down last time? But good idea to learn that. So let's finish there. Well done, everybody. It's depressing talking about illness all this time, but it is important. We may fall ill in a Spanish-speaking country. If we fall ill in Spain, the